to be here with you guys today. I'm coming from Missouri, Southwest Missouri, and I want to talk about something that is near and dear to almost all of our hearts, and that is being a grandparent. To get us started, I want to tell you a couple little things about some of my grandchildren. I have seven, almost eight. But years ago, 10 years ago, in fact, when our oldest granddaughter, Mackenzie, was about two, she was getting scolded for jumping on the bed. And after her scolding, she put her little 2 year old hands on her hips and said, I think I need to speak to my Nana. Now, she wasn't thinking I was going to get her out of trouble. I kept her every day while mom and dad were at work. So that was not an option. She, got disciplined when she needed it and that sort of thing. There was no spoiling going on. But then let's also fast forward to just a few weeks ago. One of my son in laws called me, our 3 year old granddaughter, or excuse me, he texted me and he said, is it too late to call? They also live in California. And so there's a 2 hour time difference. And it was almost 10 o'clock our time. And he said, is it too late to call? Josephine is crying. She misses Nana and Papa and she wants to talk to them. To which I very promptly texted back, it is never too late to call for something like that. The point I want to make in this is that there is a word here um, that we need to pick up on, and that's the word need. Our grandchildren need us, okay? You are, as a grandma, a grandpa, nana, papa, whatever you want to call yourself, you are an essential part of your grandchildren's lives. Whether they live far away or across the street in the same house, you are essential. And so today, what I want to talk about are some of the things that we need to be doing and some of the things that we shouldn't be doing as grandparents. And to help me know a little more about what those things are, I spoke to a lot of younger parents to see what they wished their parents, their children's grandparents did and didn't do. And I want to share some of those with you and go on some of my own experience too, both as a nana and as a granddaughter to the most amazing grandparents a child could ever have. My granny and my pop were my life, okay? My granny was my very best friend, always will be. But anyway, let's talk about what we as grandparents should and shouldn't do. Number one, we need to be accessible. Okay. You need to make sure that your grandkids know that they can call you, they can write you, they can text you, they can email you, they can come to your house anytime they want or need. Um, they're not going to abuse that. They're really not. They just need to know that you are there for them. You need to be accessible to them. Something else that I heard from so many different parents is that you need to be conscious of spending one-on-one time. I had a few moms say, my parents or my in-laws are great about coming to my kids' ball games or track meets or swim meets or dance recitals or church programs or whatever. They're always there. But they don't spend a lot of time just one-on-one with my kids, and I really wish they would. So parents or grandparents, take that cue from your adult kids. Make an effort to spend time with them one-on-one. Um, I know we were going to do that this year, take our oldest granddaughter because she had just graduated from 6th grade on a special trip, and we had decided, and I can't claim this as my own idea, a good friend of mine, she and her husband do this with their grandkids. They take each one at a specific milestone in their life on a special trip. Well, with the virus and everything, nothing was open that we could do that with. So we're going to have to put that on hold. But there's still a lot of ways that we can spend specific one-on-one time. Um, be a safe place, okay? Be a safe place. Be someplace or a person that your grandchildren can come to and talk to without feeling judged, without knowing, or with knowing that you're not going to run to mom and dad with everything they tell you. There are some things that moms and dads don't need to know. Now, I'm not talking secrets about things that can harm them or anything like that. Um, but there are just some things that they don't feel comfortable with talking, in talking to mom and dad, that if they know that you're safe and that you can be trusted, um, that they can come to you, and that you raise their parents, so you're pretty dependable in being able to give them some sound advice too. And I talked to some younger parents about that, and they said, yeah, they were fine with that unless it was something that was going to bring them physical harm, that put them in danger. They were more than good with grandchildren having a few things that they confided in grandparents that they didn't know, and that's good. Your grandkids need to know that you will hold them accountable. Um, they need to have rules. They need to have guidelines and boundaries. And grandparents, this is one of those things that you shouldn't do. Now I'm going to transition into that. You should never tell your grandkids to forget what mom and dad said and do what you say instead. You should never go above and beyond your children's or in-laws' um, rules and say, well, that's at their house, this is at my house. Now, that being said, yes, when they're at grandma and grandpa's house, maybe bedtimes aren't as stringently adhered to once they're old enough to kind of recoup from a little later night. Or they might get two cookies instead of one for dessert. We're not talking about things like that. We're talking about rules for like what they are and aren't allowed to watch on television, screen time restrictions, um, things like that. Things that they aren't allowed to wear. This is especially important with like your preteen and your teenage girls. If they're not allowed to do that, if they're not allowed to have their phones in their rooms at night at home, then you know what? They don't need their phones in their rooms at night at your house. Things like that. Um, I know we had an incident one time when one of the grandkids said, oh, I want to swim without my floaties. I can swim without my floaties. Do mom and dad let you swim without your floaties? No, but they think I'm a baby. Well, then you're not going to swim without your floaties with me either. Until mom and dad say it's okay, it's not okay. Those type of things. So don't reject mom and dad's, or don't ignore mom and dad's rules because you think you know better. That sends mixed signals. Okay. Be supportive. All right. Be supportive of their feelings. Don't belittle their feelings. Don't tell them that they shouldn't worry or to get over it, or that they shouldn't be sad. Um, don't avoid their questions. Okay. Answer their questions honestly. If this is something, I know one thing that we personally have not had a problem with this, but I know other grandparents that have, is their adult children didn't want their grandkids um, to know, like, about death. They didn't want them to talk about death or things like that. I'm not really sure why, but they didn't. And so when they were staying, and when these children were staying at their grandparents, just so happens a good friend of one of the grandparents passed away. And they wanted to know why they were so sad. And the lady said, well, my friend died. Well, what happens when you die? Well, she started, telling them, and they're Christian people, and so was expressing all of that. And when they went home, then the grandparents got in trouble by the parents for talking about death. And so you need to establish some things like that. You need to be honest, but then afterwards, since she knew that that was a problem, she needed to talk to the adult children and say, here's what happened. Okay. And this is what I said, and this is why I said it. And so we need to be honest. We need to be real. We need to be approachable. Don't let your grandkids see you as this person that hasn't been there, done that. Okay. Um, I love the Bernstein Bears, okay? I mean, that mama bear, she has got it going on, okay? She knows her stuff. And in one of the Bernstein Bear books, I think it's called Trouble with Grown-ups, the kids were upset because they didn't think the grown-ups understood them. Well, Mama and Papa switched places with them and acted like kids and made their cubs be the adults. So you need to let your grandkids know that you know what it's like to be kids. You've been a kid. They haven't been an adult, but you've been a kid. No, you're not going through the same things that they experience, but you do get it. You get that homework's hard. You get that there are bullies. You get that friends uh, deceive them. You get that they get left out. Get that they feel bad when they don't make the team and that sort of thing. So be real with them. Be relational with them, and just let them know that you are there for them. Phenomenal grandparenting is about being in a relationship. Okay, it's having a relationship with your grandkids, not just being somebody that that they visit over the holidays or maybe once or twice a year on summer vacation. You know, it takes work, but it is so worth the effort. And you know what? Once you get in the groove of it, if you're not already, you will realize so quickly that it's really not work, that it is pure joy to be a part of these kids' life and for them to be a part of yours. Going back to the rewards of that, um, a f- oh, I guess probably been about 3 or 4 years ago. We were all gathered at my in-laws for the 4th of July, and of course there were all these cousins and second cousins around and everything. And then at one point, it was just Mackenzie, my oldest granddaughter, and I out on the deck on the porch swing. And she was, oh, probably 9 or 10 at the time. And she was all snuggled up next to me. And she kind of sighed and she goes, I like it when it's just me and you. She said, I love it. I love playing with everybody and having everybody around, but I really love it when it's just me and you. And that was beyond a doubt one of the biggest compliments anyone has ever paid me in my life. Um, the fact that this little adolescent girl wanted to be with just me, and that's what phenomenal grandparenting is. It's having that relationship that your grandkids want to be with you and you want to be with them. You don't always, over the next 3 weeks, we're going to be talking about how to make that happen, whether you live long distance or whether you live right next door or in the same town. It doesn't matter. You can still do it. There are so many ways to connect with your grandkids. And that is what we're going to be talking about, building those relationships, the physical and the emotional ways that you can build those relationships. Um, I just cannot stress enough how important it is to do that. And some of the other things that you need to avoid is um, is insisting on doing it your way. Take your cue from them, okay? This isn't all about you. This is about building the relationship with them. And as the adult, you need to take the lead, but then you need to take your cue from them. Ask them what they want to do. Um, get on their level as far as don't say, oh, well, those are silly games, or I don't know why you watch that stuff. uh, you might not know why they watch that stuff because you've not watched it, but ask them why. Watch it with them. Ask them why they like it. Ask them what they enjoy about it. And be then turn it around and be their helper. School especially has taken on a whole new look and a whole new meaning this year, and you can be accessible to them by helping them and their parents with their schooling. I know I'm doing that with one of my grandkids. And but by relating back to them, you can build that relationship uh, by letting them share your wisdom and share your knowledge with them. Help them understand that you are somebody that they can come to for advice, for help, um, for learning. Okay. Uh, and another thing that you should always do is ask. Don't assume that your adult kids are going to let your grandkids do these things or that they want your help in those specific ways. Ask your kids, ask your adult kids, what can I do to help you with your kids? Um, can I take them for a weekend so that you can have some time to yourselves or a getaway, a date weekend? Um, can I help with a problem they're having in school? Um, is there something I need to be aware of when they come to visit so that I don't cause the problem to be bigger or that I don't undo the steps you have taken to get them moving in the right direction? Okay. Also, never criticize your kids' parenting skills in front of your grandkids. Don't correct your kids in front of their kids. Big mistake. Don't do it. It just wedges, uh, puts a bigger wedge between your kids and their children. And we know parenting is so hard. It is the hardest, um, best job you will ever do. It is the most amazing thing that you will ever do, but it's also the hardest thing you'll ever do. So don't make it harder on your kids. And also, um, don't don't tell your kids what they're doing wrong unless they ask, okay? If they ask for your advice, give it. But don't go to them and say, "Hey, I think you're doing this wrong." Um, that's not our call, okay? Because we don't know the entire situation. We don't know that them getting on to their child for doing X, Y, and Z isn't because they've done X, Y, and Z and A, B, and C 3 times already before you saw them. So, just be real mindful. Don't insert yourself into the situation unless you're asked to. Um, yeah, because like I said, this is a relationship, and you don't want your relationship with your grandchildren um, to cause a problem in your relationship with your children. Okay. Also, on that same note, um, a lot of our kids, I mean, we're going to be faced with blended families. Okay. Some of your grandchildren may have stepdads or stepmoms. They may they may be spending part of their time with with a parent that is non-custodial parent that is no longer a part of your family. Okay, don't ever criticize that parent, okay, the one who is an ex-in-law um, to your children. That is their mother or father, okay? No matter what they did to your son or daughter, that is your grandchild's parent. And you need to respect and honor that. And you need to respect and honor your grandchild's heart and feelings. Even if they have a bad relationship or a non existent relationship with that parent, don't criticize, don't demean them, don't talk badly about them, because someday the tables may turn and you never want to be that person who could be responsible or who has to admit that you may have contributed to the negativity that child feels about their parent. Okay? So, Let's just sum this all up. Be accessible, be open, be honest, be real, um, be available, but don't insert. Be respectful of your kids and their parenting rules and their parenting methods. Um, be respectful of your grandkids, their likes and dislikes, even when you don't get them. Okay? Be respectful of that, because think back, your grandparents didn't get everything that you thought was cool. I mean, I can remember Granny. Of course, I grew up in the 70s, the big, big bell bottoms that drug the ground. Granny did not get that. Oh my goodness, she did not get that at all. But she just kind of laughed and said, "Whatever. Okay, hope you don't trip and break your neck." I mean, that kind of thing. So just be respectful, and at the same time, um, make sure that you are a person that your grandkids can respect as well. Okay, let them know that these things are a two-way street. So, Andy, I think at this point, I know you had talked about possibly taking some questions from the audience. Is that something we're about ready to do?
Yeah, if you've got a little bit of time there, there are some frequently asked questions that we have, and we can jump right into them if you.
Okay,
All right.
sure.
Well, good. Well, let's see. This one comes from Betty, and she says she wants to be friends with her grandkids, but sometimes she realizes she feels that she has to be a disciplinarian, and sometimes that's a little bit hard for her, is what she says.
Right. And it can be, especially if you don't see them very often. Now, like I said, with Mackenzie and her little sister Macy, I kept them every day while mom and dad were at work for the first few years of their life. So it was not a problem, because if I didn't discipline them, I was the one who was going to have to pay for it as much as my son and daughter-in-law, because they were there so much. Um, and it goes back to respecting your adult children. Know what those rules are, and enforce those rules in your home. Yes, okay, they may get to stay up a little later, may get to have an extra cookie, or, they may get to run barefoot, through the sprinklers or whatever, instead of wearing flip-flops. Um, but I mean, yeah, you have to discipline, because remember, Betty, you are not doing them any favors by not disciplining them. Not only are you making yourself appear as a pushover and um, weakening the relationship, you're causing trouble for when they go back home. They're going to act out, and and that might end up resulting in you not being able to spend time. Your kids may say, if that's the way it's going to be when you go to grandma's house, then maybe you shouldn't go. So yeah, you can be their friend and discipline them. You can be both.
And this one's from a guy. This is Ralph, and he turned 71, and he says his grandkids are so full of energy, and he isn't prepared sometimes when he comes by to pick them up, because he wonders how he can get them to wind down a little bit, because they're so active and jumpy. Is what he's saying.
Right. I think of course, I don't know how old they are. And so, sometimes if he's picking up 3 and 4 year olds, good luck, Ralph. No, seriously,
Maybe it's yeah.
have some designated, have some planned activities. If you have some focused activities, and there again, I don't know how old they are, but I'm going to assume, since they're, full of energy, they're probably younger. Have some paints or some Play-Doh, or have some type of crafting, or take them on a nature walk, or let them run around in the sprinklers, or let them help you um, pick up rocks out of the garden, or pick flowers, go pick wildflowers, or try to identify as many different little bugs, or take them somewhere where, if nothing else, take them to the park and let them run off some energy, or have some tricycles at your house, or things like that, that they can pedal up and down the sidewalks, or in the driveway, or something like that, or up and down the street while you walk up and down the street, and spend time with them in ways that they can burn off that energy. and just don't give them a lot of sweets.
Okay. This squeeze this last one in here. This is from Joni, and she's 68, and she says that the distant learning stuff is really difficult. I know you talked about this a moment ago. She worries she's not doing the job good enough. Is what she's saying.
Okay, if she is responsible for distance learning, helping her grandkids with their school, I would say don't be too hard on yourself, but also um, don't let it slip under the rug. If you're really concerned about it, talk to some people who are teachers and make sure that you're covering the bases. Also, spend an hour or two one day online looking up all the plethora of resources that there are available. Put in some distinctive searches for whatever grade your kids are in, and you will come up with some things, more things than you'll be able to use. I guarantee it. But if you are feeling uncertain, talk to some friends who are teachers who teach those grades, and just ask for some encouragement and some advice and reassurance, and take notes. But don't be too hard on yourself. Don't try to do too much. Take it slow, and just stick to the guidelines, and they're out there, and just do your best. And just remember, it's about the kids learning, not about you, but about the kids making sure they get what they need.
By pretty fast. Is Can you for folks who may want to get some more information, and we'll get some things up on the website, and you
Okay.
do have a web page here that at Bloomer Boomer that people can access, but where people can reach out to you if need be.
Yes, you can like me on Facebook at D Noble Rights, Twitter at D Noble Rights. You can email me at dnoblerights@yahoo.com. Or, not to sound like a broken record, my website is dnoblerights.com. And um, I just want to say, if you go to my website, you will see a couple of my books. One of them in particular is called Please Pass the Memory. And we're going to be talking about a lot of things in that book over the next 3 weeks, about how to connect with your grandkids, either long distance, in person, and just all sorts of fun ways, using food, using pictures, using hands-on activities, using stories, using all sorts of things to connect with our grandkids. And then there's also one of my books that's called Love Mama D, and it is getting to the heart of parenting, grandparenting from the heart, with unconditional love. And it's not about diapers and homework and curfews. It's about the relationship of parenting and grandparenting. So I really urge you guys to check those out, and feel free to reach out to me and contact me with any questions. And if you have some, and you want to send them to Andy or send them to me, we'll cover them over the next 3 weeks. So I thank you guys for listening, and I will talk to you soon.